Hey guys, how's it going? Final week of the e-commerce project. Congrats guys on making it. We know this has been a challenging project, but it teaches a lot of great skills. So I'm hoping that you guys were able to get a lot out of it and finish up your projects this week. What I'm hoping to do in this video is go through my version of the final project, some of the things that I've done. Obviously, everybody's projects are going to look different. Make it your own, have fun with it. But I at least thought that I would go through my project and show you all what I've done to make it my own and to fulfill the requirements for this week. So we're here on the main page, my Star Wars website. We're not signed in, so I can see all the characters, but I can't add them to a card or anything. Up in the top right, we have my two buttons to sign in or sign up. They're not currently a user. Our sign up is dealing with the things that we um, are doing this week. It's form validation. So there's a series of validation that I do on each of these inputs, and Max goes through all of this. That's how I was able to complete this week's project, was by going through with Max and following through his tutorial and applying it to my own website. So the form validation pack that he has you install is really awesome. It really takes a lot of weight off your shoulders of having to do your own form validation for checking inputs, the input fields. So obviously here we have an email, a password, and a confirm password. The email checks the email, password checks to make sure that the password fits the requirements of a password, and the confirm password checks up here on the password to make sure that these two are the same. So if I come in here and I add test, this isn't a valid email. There's no @ or .com, so that's going to throw an error. If we come in here, let's add a password that would fulfill the requirements for a password, and let's do a matching password here. If I do this, the only thing that technically fails is my email. What it told me is that my email was not valid. Max goes through this, but you can create specific messages for the kinds of errors that are thrown by the user. If we come back up here, let's do, obviously this isn't a real email, but it's going to fulfill the requirements of an email. And let's come down here and let's mess this up. Let's put in TA and TA. We're going to get an error here, but we're not going to get an error here. That's because this does not fill the requirements of a password, but this does fulfill the requirements of a confirm password. It matches exactly what is up here. If I were to add something to make them not match, then I would get an error on both input fields. Now this is how we want it. I'm not going to add another user because I already have a few users in the log, but I just wanted to go through the sign up and show you some of the validation that is done in order to do this. Something else about this that I added, it's not necessary to do, but Max does go through how to send confirmation emails to a sign up. And mine currently does do that. If I add my own valid email here and a password and a confirm password, it will then send me an email confirming that an account was made. Something to note when you're doing this, and this is something about SendGrid, and I'll show you real quick. Single sender verification. If you are going to do email, make sure that you do this, otherwise you will get an error. Make sure that you go into your SendGrid account and go under the single sender verification and add your email as the from email. This is the only way that SendGrid will be able to verify that the from email is a legitimate user or is coming from you, and it will then send emails to whoever is signing up. So it doesn't have to be your email that it's sending it to, but the from email does need to be an email that you have authorization to use. So that is an extra plus. If you guys do that, mention that to Andrew and I, and that will boost up your grade a little bit. But once again, it's not completely necessary. It is a bit of a hassle to get the single user verification working. Let's come back here and let's sign in now. I'm going to sign in with a legitimate email now. Let's say I put in the wrong password. Once again, I'm doing validation on this. I did not set it up. Actually, yes, that's why. Because Max talks about this, and this is the reason why I did not do this. You can notice that neither the email nor the password are read, and that's because usually on sign-in information, you don't want to let the user know whether it was the email or the password, just in case, for security reasons, that someone is trying to get into someone else's account. You don't want them to know whether or not it's the email or the password that's the issue. So I don't do any kind of red validating on the sign-in like I did on the sign-up. But here, we can now sign in with a valid password. And I'm in with my user. Something that you should have been done from previous weeks, or from last week, I believe, is the manage characters. If I come in here, my user has only created one specific character. So my manage characters is only going to show the character that I've added and allow me to work with him. So I can edit, I can delete him, but I don't see the other characters that are inside of the characters tab. If I come in here, my information is loaded in, and let's say I remove my price. Once again, this week is about form validation, so I'm going to get an error telling me that I had an invalid value, and red pointing me to the input box where I am having issues with that. Let's say that this is correct. I come up here and I have a validation that says that this needs to be at least 5 characters long for it to be a description. So if I do this, I'm going to get an error thrown here that's telling me that that was not valid for the field that I had, which is what is so cool about what Max shows in these week's videos. The validation that you can add to specific inputs is really cool and takes a huge weight off your shoulders. If I press on update now with everything being valid, I can come down here and I can see that it has been updated correctly and I didn't get any errors. We come into add character and it's going to be the same kind of story. Let's say I didn't even add any information here. Well, then I get returned to the page or redirect, and I get issues with all of my input fields telling me that I didn't have input on any of these. I had invalid values. Come up here, let's add a Yoda character, and he is very smart. I mean, what price can you put on Yoda? Let's put $42.05. Why not? And then let's add this picture of Yoda as our photo. This is all correct information. Nothing is wrong. So once I click add, that should add him. Now I come down here and I have my Yoda figure. Now if I go back to my manage characters, Yoda will now be added to that because this specific user added that product. So I hope that this was a little helpful. This is what we're hoping for validation as far as this week. It's not all that difficult. Just go through the videos with Max, and he takes you step through step on how all of this validation works. Once again, I encourage you guys to make this project your own. This can be a really great tool for showing off to employers your abilities with web engineering, showing that you're able to make a e-commerce site that has authorization, verification, that uses a database to store information, and retrieve information. It's really impressive the amount of work that's been put into these projects, and it can be a great tool in showing your worth to potential employers. So I hope that these videos have been helpful to you guys. I'm looking forward to your next projects. Your next projects, you'll be able to take what you've learned by making this e-commerce project and apply it to your own project that you'll come up with. I was part of this class last semester, and it was one of the funnest projects that I've gotten to do because I really got to show my creativity by creating my own product. So I would encourage you guys to be creative with what you're going to do, have fun with it, and apply the skills that you've learned while making this e-commerce project into the project to come. I hope this, once again, I hope this is helpful, guys. If you guys need anything, make sure to reach out to Andrew or I, and we'll be there all week for you guys to help you get this finished up and get it submitted to us.